Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica with Memory Box Candle Co. and I make videos all about the journey of starting a candle business. In today's video, we are talking all about candle labels. So I'm just going to be sharing with you how we go about printing off professional candle labels at home. I've been doing this since the very beginning, purchasing blank labels from online labels in a bunch of different sizes, a bunch of different kinds of paper, depending on the product that we're using, and then using our own printer at home to print things off on. And so far, so good. Everything has come out pretty good, pretty professional looking. So I just kind of wanted to walk you through that process. And then I also wanted to show all of the label sizes that we use for all the different products. And then I'll put up the kind of paper that we use as well. And then I also want to give you a couple tips when it comes to adhering your candle labels to your candle, because sometimes that can be a little bit difficult, specifically when it comes to trying to avoid bubbles and all of that kind of stuff. And then I did want to also let you know that this video is sponsored by Online Labels, which is the company that I use and have been using since the very beginning for all of my labels. So that is where I get that. And I also want to mention that they are giving my viewers 10% off of their purchase. So I will have the code listed right here, the link that you can use in order to get that 10% off. And it will also be in a pinned comment as well. And then I will also probably put all of the specifications of all of the label sizes and everything like that in that pinned comment as well. But with that, we are going to get right into today's video. So Online Labels basically allows you to purchase blank label sheets in like a million different potential sizes. And what's really nice is you don't have to purchase a minimum amount. You can order just one sheet if you want to. Of course, the more you order, the more cost effective it is. But we've ordered a bunch of different sizes before, where I'm just trying to figure out, maybe it's a new product I'm trying out and I just want to see if that label size is going to work on there. I'll just order one sheet and then be able to tell if that is a size that I like. I think I've done that so many times throughout the years. But they also have different types of paper that you could use. So like glossy, matte, weatherproof. I think they have like different colors and stuff like that. So when you go on the website, you're able to actually see all of the different options that they offer in terms of the actual paper. But when it comes to actually printing them off, what the whole process really looks like is you're purchasing these blank labels in a certain size, and then you're putting it into your printer and aligning it with your design. Now, they have something called, it's called Maestro Label Designer, and you're able to design your labels on there and then also align them to whatever template you have. So the template is the size of the label. So you want to just make sure that whatever template name that is your size label is matching the template on Maestro Label Designer. And then you're able to align it properly so that it's going to print off and it's not going to be wonky. If you know what I mean, sometimes the alignment issues with labels can kind of be like a headache. I've had that happen before in the past, but I've kind of figured out different ways of, at least on our end, my computer and our printer and all that kind of stuff, to make it as centered and aligned correctly as possible. So what I do is I upload all of my pre-made designs as a PNG onto Maestro Label Designer. I have everything in different categories, so you're able to kind of categorize everything on there depending on if you have different collections, different sizes of candles. I have everything kind of organized on Maestro, and it helps to just have it be organized, and then I'm able to find it whenever I need to print off new labels. So I have everything uploaded onto there. And then what you're able to do is just basically drag and put that PNG onto that label design. So when you're on Maestro, it's only going to show one label at a time of what you're designing, but there's different options in kind of like the drop-down menu, and you're able to add on different designs, and you're able to add on as many as the label sheet will hold. So for instance, if your label sheet has 15 labels as an option, you're able to add on 15 separate designs, and you could potentially just have one one label design of each print off at a time, or you can select and have, you know, maybe 3 of one scent, 5 of another scent. We've had to do that before when we've run low on labels. We actually had to do that recently when we were waiting for more labels to come in and we were trying to just utilize what we have. Because typically I just will print off a whole sheet of the same scent, but if you're trying to save paper and labels, then you can just pick and choose which one you want to print out at once. Something else that a lot of people don't know is that you're able to actually print off just one label at a time. So there is a blank category in kind of the alignment section of what you want to print out, and you're able to choose which labels you want to keep blank. So if you want to keep all of them blank except for one and just do a test print, or maybe you only need one label printed off or 2 labels printed off, you can do that. You don't have to print an entire sheet of labels. You can choose which ones you want to keep blank and just print off what you need in the moment. So now I'm just gonna go through and show you all of the different labels, sizes, and all of that we use for the business. So this size right here is actually a 2.5 by 3 because you purchase it like this. But on Maestro, you're actually able to rotate the canvas or the label, and you're able to basically, you know, do the design and all that kind of stuff from this way. So it basically ends up being a 3 by 2.5 inch label. So this one right here is what we use for our larger candles. So our 10-ounce candles, this is the size that we use. I will put up pictures right here so you can see the products and how they are used. And then the next one that is right up here is our room spray labels. So this room spray label, I believe, is kind of like a weird size. And I'm going to put a photo and then also the size of the label right there as well. And also, just so you know, when it comes to labels, sizes, it's absolutely up to you. You don't have to choose these sizes with the exact products that I use. Please feel free to purchase a bunch of just one sheet samples or one sheets from online labels, and, you know, try it out and see which ones you like, because there are 100 different options for the same jar, for the same, you know, vessel that you're working with. These are just the sizes that I went with. I mean, you could probably go bigger on the room sprays. You could probably do a wraparound label. There's so many different sizes and things that you could do, but I just wanted to put that in there, that you don't have to choose these sizes. Please feel free to just, you know, be creative and try out different things. This is just, you know, what we use for our business. And then this size right here is the what we use for our 6-ounce matte black tins. So I will put up a picture right there. I believe it's 3.75 by 1.25. I think that is the size, but I will make sure to include the correct sizes with the photos and everything. So this is what these look like on there. You can kind of see right here. And then these ones kind of have rounded edges. Some of them actually do have rounded edges, and some of them have more pointed edges. And again, that's just depending on what size and what kind of label. And then also, because I'm not mentioning it, I will also put the type of paper that they are as well, because these are weatherproof. All of these so far have been weatherproof, as well as this one. So this is part of the new collection that we just released. These are for the 9-ounce straight-sided jars or the 7-ounce candles that we have. And these again have the rounded edges, but I just liked the size of this for the jar for the 7-ounce. And then we have a couple more. We have this right here, and I've been using the glossy white on this for so long. This is for wax melt labels. Now, this was actually the size that I started with for my candles and wax melt labels. So my candle labels were a little bit smaller than what they used to be as well. So I'll show you kind of, you know, the size. Don't drop that, the size. So here is the size for the wax melt. And then I used to do this for the candle label. And I will stick that right back on there. Don't worry, I didn't waste it. You can use it still. So this is for wax melts, and this is glossy paper. So this is not the weatherproof. And then the last one is for the gold tins that we use for wholesale or bulk events. So these are 2-inch glossy labels, and these ones work really well for the, what we need for the tins and everything. And then real fast, I just wanted to say kind of the pros and cons between the different types of paper, between like the matte, the glossy, weatherproof, all that kind of stuff. Now, those are the only ones that I've personally tried. And I would say that the best parts about the weatherproof style is that it can actually be removed. So if we need to remove it from our candles, we're able to. It's kind of a pain sometimes, but it does remove, and we're able to change up the label if something happens. But with those labels, they are very thin and they can like peel, break. I want to say break, rip. I guess that's a good word. A couple times I've ripped the label kind of in half when trying to pull it off the sheet. Doesn't happen all the time. It used to happen a lot more, but now I've been a lot more cautious with it because it is a thinner type of sticker paper. And also you have to be careful more with bubbles with that kind of paper as well. But it's kind of a mix between like a matte and a glossy, so I really like that. And also the weatherproof just kind of comes with its own, positives as well in terms of the name of weatherproof. And then when it comes to the glossy labels, I like that they are glossy and shiny. But the only thing about it is that even though you don't really have to worry about bubbles as much with glossy labels, once you stick it down, it's stuck. You cannot remove it. I think the only one with like the matte or glossy category, I think they do make removable matte labels, which I've seen before on there. So that is an option if you want to kind of have the best of both worlds, to be able to remove it and potentially may not have as many issues with like the bubbling and all that kind of stuff. And speaking of bubbles and your labels, the very last part of this video that I wanted to show you was walking you through how I adhere the label onto the candle jar. So let's go ahead and get right into that. So now when it comes to the labeling process, this is where you really have to try to be as precise as you possibly can. So what I like to do, because we use 2 wicks in our candles, so I like to make the label basically parallel with the way that the wicks are laying. So I just double check that before I go through and add on the label. So I'm going to lay that down and then peel off this label. And then the best way that we have found to do this is you have to hold it taut. So you have to hold the label tight, and then we line it up on top and then slowly pull it down until it's ready to be placed. And then what you do is you start in the middle. So if you just try to start on the side and go this way, there tends to be more bubbles that way. So what I have found is starting on one corner and putting a lot of pressure so that you're pushing out any air. Pushing out any air onto one side, then going through on the other side and pushing out any air. Now, because I use a laser printer, and this is for this paper right here, the weatherproof, it's for laser printers. That is something that, it doesn't have any ink, so it's not going to smear with me doing this. So this is the look of the candle once it's on here. And this is, again, something that we just have to try to be cautious of as much as possible because of air bubbles. And if you have a candle business, or if you've adhered labels before, you've probably had to deal with air bubbles. But doing it that way, it's probably about 95% effective most of the time. Sometimes we do have to still, remove it and have to redo it. The nice thing about these weatherproof labels is that you can remove them. So they are removable. I have found that the glossy ones, the matte ones, you cannot remove unless you specifically get the removable matte labels. But I really like these weatherproof ones because They're not glossy and they're not matte. See how there kind of is a tiny bit of shine to it? It works really well with our matte black jars and now our clear jars that we use as well. So a lot of the labels that we use are weatherproof. So I do really like that material for the labels. But that is pretty much the entire process of going through and printing them off at home. I think they do come out really nice, and looking at it, I mean, you really can't tell that this is something that was just printed off and made at home. At least I'd like to think that they do look pretty professional. But that is just the whole process of using online labels products. Again, huge thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. If you're looking for a company that you can just, purchase blank labels from, print it off at home, I would highly recommend them. I really, really hope that this video was helpful for you. And if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below. But with that, I am going to end today's video right here. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave it a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at Memory Box Candle Co. And I will see you in my next video.